Hello everybody and welcome to the Buffalo State College Bengals Dynasty off-season recap video. Tayshaun Prince finished his year with 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, while Jeremiah Banks was no doubt the star of the team at 1,229 yards rushing and 14 rushing touchdowns. In receiving, we had 4 guys over 400, but nobody made it to 500 yards. But the spread was very nice between those 4 players, considering Tayshaun Prince only threw for 1,899 yards this year. You love to see the spread of getting 1,600 yards between 4 players. Then on defense, Todd Tremblay, going to be a big loss. He led our team in tackles. Oliver Rover, going to be another tough loss. He had 12 TFLs and 3 sacks. 4 sacks for Littlefield on the season and 11 for Dante Randall, who is going to be sorely missed. I will admit to you guys, he was my favorite player on the entire squad this year. Dante Randall coming up with some huge sacks in some big spots, and 17 TFLs as well. He had quite the year. Dante Dominguez had a couple sacks as well, so it was time to go into the offseason, see what players were going to be leaving the squad. And aside from the graduations, very shocking transfers of Marshawn Culliver and Zach Mead. Junior quarterback Zach Mead probably would have been on track to be the actual starting quarterback this year, but instead, he will be moving on, transferring to a rival in Miami, Ohio. Marshawn Culliver decided to go along with him. They were very good friends. They're going to be roommates at Miami of Ohio. And this is creating yet another big rivalry in the MAC conference. We already had one with in-city rival Buffalo, but now forget about it. We've got Miami of Ohio to contend with as well. Moss, Dripper, Banks, and Dominguez, the highest overalls to leave our team this year, and Legion was very excited to be able to bring in a transfer to talk about in Pat Hughes, a redshirt freshman. So we'll see what Pat Hughes will be able to do when he's able to play next season, not this season. We had the 81st ranked recruiting class, obviously with the rules in this series very tough to really get a heck of a lot of players. We had 11 players commit to the squad. We put in 10,000 points on Adam Miller, who was pretty much the only guy we could try to go for here. Billy Myers is a little more athletic than the average possession receiver, so excited to bring him in. Tony Hawkins at outside linebacker is going to be a 3-down linebacker. He's a solid player. Dennis Vincent is the ideal Bobo replacement, hopefully. Leon Jacobs is a speedy back and the star of this year's class with 94 speed, 91 excel. Lance Rice might be able to compete for the starting quarterback job now that Mead is gone. Athletic, great arm. Needs to improve his accuracy, but that can improve pretty quickly. Jay Woods is a huge big hitting safety. Love to have a guy that could be like the Ronnie Lott of this defense. Jackson has a big frame at 272 pounds. Hopefully he'll be big on that D-line. Stewart is a boundary corner, but he is a little bit undersized. He's okay, though. It'll be cool to see what he can do in this defense. Marcus Blaylock, good to have a 290-pound guard out there. And Chris Johnson, athletic tight end, and much better than his overall would tell you. This guy should be able to make some plays in the passing game. And then center Ryan Jones, another good future anchor of this offensive line. We do get Adam Miller putting in all those points, so that's incredible. We bring him in as well. That is going to be exciting. We get the full amount of players that we pretty much possibly can. Unfortunately, though, we get a lot of walk-ons, so we're gonna have to cut some of those walk-ons. As a matter of fact, we would have to cut 6 or 8 of them, I believe. So we would have to go through and cut a bunch of walk-ons, unfortunately. Can't keep them all on the squad. Training went pretty well. A lot of guys getting +6s. Adrian Armstrong gets a +6. Eric Rowe gets a +5. So there will be a huge quarterback battle in the preseason, as you'll see at the end of this video. Big practice quarterback battle. Littlefield, Callahan, and Branch all go up quite a bit, so cool to see Littlefield becoming the quarterback of this defense, and Flanagan with a +6 as well. He needed that, and we needed a corner to become as good as he possibly can. Unfortunately, we had to cut Terrence Franz. He wasn't one of the guys that we signed ourselves, so he had to go. We cannot keep that many walk-ons, and we didn't need another QB. Joe Burns had to go. We had to get rid of that as a walk-on. Then we had a couple more walk-ons here. Jeremy Carpenter is going to have to go, and moving into corner was a tough decision to make, but ultimately, I think Chat and Legion ended up going with Everett to cut. Yes, and moving on, we now have that many corners. Moving on, we did change the conference to bring in an extra team to make the conference even on both sides. Army West Point will be moving into our side of the conference. I mean, we are Buffalo State. We do have Buffalo, so bring in a third New York team. And so now it was time to go over the schedule. The chat originally wanted Bama. Everybody says we want Bama in an off-season stream with NCAA Football 14. It's just how it goes. But that is not how it went. We will be taking on the battles with the both orange teams in Syracuse and Clemson to open the season. So that is going to be tough in and of itself. So chat and Legion and I ultimately thought, let's bring a team into Buffalo State so we could get another home game. A 5th home game makes more sense than 8 road games. So, moving on, taking a look at how the depth chart is shaping up. This team is going to be a little bit better than last year. I feel like their ceiling is probably 5 to 7 wins. I don't see anything better than that. Now, could they go out there and win 4 games again? They could. But the quarterback battle taking shape, Lance Rice out there on the practice field, it was cool to see some of the things that he could do. Lance Rice's initial reps were concerning as he missed several wide receivers by a mile, but we were going to need to see more from him in order to make an accurate assessment of what he could really do on the field. He made some plays, but you could see just missing wide open receivers, and it was absolutely driving Coach nuts, which is concerning for sure for Lance Rice. Now, Adrian Armstrong, he kind of sucked right away and cemented himself as QB3, which was disappointing because he has an absolute cannon of an arm, and it would have been nice to see him be able to throw some yeets down the field, but unfortunately, he was just too horrible to go with. Now, Eric Rowe was QB4 last season, and he surprised and made some excellent throws, but mostly he just got lucky and bailed out by excellent wide receiver play. Here was Legion's analysis to one such throw.
Okay, let me replay this, because honestly, the intended receiver on this is Hunter Haskins. He's supposed to hit this right on the hash mark, and he's just like, screw it, we're going inside, and Lynch goes up and gets it.
We ended up giving Lance Rice another chance, and he started to show off his mobility, and accuracy actually became less of a concern. The last play of practice is really where he began to break tackles, and it ultimately ended up winning him the job. Now, Rowe got another chance, and while he was more accurate at times than Lance Rice, he doesn't have the arm strength or the mobility that Lance Rice does and Buffalo State really felt like he wasn't going to give them the best chance to win. So Lance Rice will be your starting quarterback for Season 2 of the Buffalo State College Dynasty. I thank you guys so much for coming out to watch this off-season recap. I hope you're very excited. We can build a winner together. Thank you, everybody, and take care.